Welcome to This Week in Loveland Tigers Athletics here on lovelandtigers.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports. I'm Jason Griefer. As always, we're welcomed by Loveland Athletic Director Brian Knatzer. Brian, good to talk to you once again. We also have a brand new addition to the Loveland staff joining us here now, site manager and assistant athletic director Clay George. Clay, first of all, welcome to Tiger Nation. And first of all, Clay, kind of give us an introduction about yourself and what attracted you and what made you want to be a part of Loveland. And then Brian, behind that, kind of tell us what made Clay such a good fit at Loveland. Clay, we'll start with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First off, just a quick introduction on myself. Well, first off, my name's Clay George. I'm originally from a small town called Russia, Ohio. It's spelled Russia, about 45 minutes north of Dayton. I went to undergrad at Bowling Green State University, and I'm currently a grad student at the University of Cincinnati, which is what helped me become aware of this position. Just through some professors and connections there, I became more familiar with Loveland and saw the position open up. And I was working at or interning at LaSalle down here in Cincinnati. And my ultimate goal is to become an athletic director at a high school, and I saw this position open up, and it was a good step forward and getting me into interscholastic sports. And Loveland so far so good. Seems like a great community here, a community that loves their sports, a school that is highly involved in everything. And it reminds me a lot. My school was definitely very small, but in the sense of community pride and involvement and everything, definitely relates to that. So yeah, I'm super excited. I've been here for about a week or two, and looking forward to the future.
Brian, what made Clay such a good fit at Loveland?
Well, first of all, obviously he's going to be in this field, right? And I made two calls to people that I respect. One, he had mentioned the high school that he was interning for, and that athletic director said, hire him in a heartbeat. I called the University of Cincinnati program director for his master's degree, and his words to me were slam dunk. So, with that and two people that I respect, I thought, okay, we can't go wrong with this. We put him through the grind of the interview process, where we've had a lot of good people, but obviously Clay kind of rose to the top. He's a hard worker. We've already tested out his back, as far as carrying things around and doing what he has to do. And, he's starting to learn real quick that AD stands for all day. So he's doing a good job. We look forward to what he's going to bring to the table, already off and running, building those relationships. So we're thrilled to have him. Obviously brings a unique experience being from Dayton down here, and we're excited for him. So welcome aboard, Clay.
Clay, you're just getting started now at Loveland. As you said, Brian put you through the ringer through the interview process, and now he's testing out the strength of your back there. Has there been any kind of rookie hazing from your boss? And keep in mind, you're being recorded right now.
No.
That's good. That's good. That's good. We wouldn't expect anything less here. So as we go forward, if Clay is just getting familiar with all the programs and the student athletes at Loveland, so you might hear him jump in from time to time, if not today, in future episodes of the podcast. So again, we want to welcome Clay George to Tiger Nation. Let's get right into start talking about some of your programs here, and let's start in the bowling lanes. And we'll start with the boys first. Brian, very good showing for the team out at the Cardinal Classic over the weekend. This is a pretty big deal. I think 17 teams were at this tournament. Really good litmus test as far as what you can expect come postseason time. How did Coach Adams feel about the team's positioning coming out of that tournament, heading into the home stretch of the ECC season?
Yeah, I mean, we made it to the Final Four, right? Big shout out to Sharon Peacock, who did outstanding, made the all-tournament team with a 459 series. So great for him, great for the boys team. I think that you're right. That is, a tournament heading into the ending of our ECC, if you will. We went against Walnut and Winton Woods just prior to that. Mm-hmm. I'll throw out some names too and some scores. Alton French with a 459 series, again, big, strong. Justin Deerling and Colin Magnan, who also had some good showings too individually. So that team is strong. We got a big week coming up. We're heading out to Northwest Lanes against Ross and Milford at Crossgate this week. So again, back at ECC play this week, and we are moving strong into the postseason. So really excited for those teams.
Over on the girls' side,
yeah,
tough loss to West Claremont, but good bounce backs against Winton Woods and Walnut.
Yeah, okay, and I'm gonna just shout out Ashley Gilker again, who's doing a fantastic job. Again, you're in good company when you look at the leaders of the conference, and you're in conversation with West Claremont and Lebanon. Those are two powerhouse girls bowling teams, and Ashley is making herself known within those ranks. So that team is again we're just under the top of the ECC schools, trying to make our mark and stay strong for the rest of the tournament play. So feeling pretty confident about those girls. And again, we've talked, Jason, over and over, how much fun it is to watch these guys play, how enthusiastic they are. And they do a great job. So looking forward to them competing this week.
Both swim teams in action at the ECC championships over the weekend. Both finished 6th overall. Do want to give credit to Colin Blackburn finishing 2nd in the 100 breaststroke there. How did the team results compare with the coach's expectations going into the tournament or the championship?
Well, yeah. First of all, we're one of the only schools that don't have a pool, right? So we don't get to practice that. We got to farm out our location. So these kids are getting up at 4 a.m, going out to these places, swimming, getting in wherever we can. Whether that be with their club team, whether that be with the rentals that we have here. So, I think we followed right into middle of the line. I'm going to give a lot, Jason, if you'll let me. I'm going to give some shout outs to these kids because they deserve their names being called out for all that they've done, working hard this season. So you're right, Colin Blackburn, 2nd with the 200 breast and 4th in the 200 IM. We got Landon Temple, 6th in the 100 breast and 8th in the 200 IM. Jackson Farrell, 10th in the 100 back. Evan Lucas, there's our Evan Lucas is our ECC athlete of the week this week too, but 4th in the 100 fly and 5th in the 200 free. And got a relay made up, came in 5th place for the 200 medley. We got Farrell, Temple, Lucas, Blackburn, 7th place in the 400 free relay. You got names like Lucas, Farrell, and Blackburn. So again, kids are training hard, working hard, showing up every day, doing what they have to do. I'm going to head over to the girls if you're all right with that, Jason.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Athlete of the week, ECC, Kylie Dunlop. Congratulations, Kylie. Great job. Throw out some names. Sarah Lally, 4th in the 100 fly, 5th in the 100 breast. We got Kendall Hubble, 7th in the 100 back, 10th in the fly. Kylie Dunlop, again, just to mention her name, 5th in the 100 free and 9th in the 50 free. We have relay teams made up of Hubble, Chapman, Lally, Skeens, 200 medley relay placed 7th, and also 7th in the 400 free relay, Dunlop, Hubble, DeMoss, and Lally. So a lot of those names you're hearing over and over again. The kids did a good job, and they're going to continue working hard. Tonight, we are swimming at Princeton in our final duel of the season. Just great that we're having this conversation. Final duel of the season. Girls are at 4:45, boys are at 7:45. So we're thrilled that they get to continue on with this season and get to take a stab at the postseason.
Clay, let me bring you back in here to this point that Brian alluded to here just a moment ago in talking about this swim team. Obviously, as we said, you're new man on campus. You're still trying to get to know all the student athletes in the programs. But I want to talk about something that Brian just mentioned there: the fact that the Loveland swim team does not have a home pool. They have to go out and try and find facilities to practice and to train at. And like Brian said, these athletes are getting up at 4:30, 5 in the morning to go get some work in. You've had some experience, as you said, coming over after doing some work at LaSalle High School. So you've gotten to see some of these student athletes and what they've had to go through during this pandemic to try to get training, extra work, and what have you. What does that tell you about the kids that they're willing to get up at 4:30 in the morning to go where they need to go to get into a pool and get some work in?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it just shows you how dedicated they are to be successful. That's the biggest thing. If you want to be able to compete, you got to put in the work, and they've definitely shown that and are definitely, working their hardest and putting in the time. Like you said, getting up at 4 a.m. It's being as dedicated as possible, which is great to see. as an athletic, as working in athletics, it's definitely what you want to see out of your student athletes. So.
And talking about dedication, we have to mention our dive team as well,
Mm-hmm.
because we had our ECC championships from there as well. So big shout out to our three people. Callie Egan placed third in the ECC. Morgan Eversole placed sixth, and Sarah Mueller placed ninth in the ECC. And so congratulations to those three. And we also yesterday dived at Miami University. Sydney Keel with 12th. Callie Egan 16th, and Morgan Eversole 20th. So these girls are always back and forth with one another, trading places, supporting one another, traveling all over the tri-state just to be able to dive. So.
A lot of mileage racking up, but again, the work is showing in the results there. So that's a good thing. Let's move on. Let's talk about your academic quiz team right now, tied for fourth in the ECC with Anderson at 5-3 overall, and your team's gonna take on Winton Woods this week, and Winton Woods is winless on the year, and they've been routed in every match thus far. So it's not been a good year for Winton Woods in the academic quiz team side. So going into a match like this, do the players look at that and see, okay, we've got a real good chance to get a win here? Or are they still at a point kind of at the midway point of the season of we're working on improving ourselves. We're competing with ourselves to try to get better towards the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Winton Woods has got a smaller team, and we give a lot of props for them. They're coming over with a very small team, and they still want to compete. We contacted them. They're like, oh, we're all in. We're giving everything. We're putting everything on the line. So big shout out to Winton Woods. But for this week, Jason, it's more than just competing against Winton Woods. This will be our senior night recognition. So it's actually going to be because of the size, it's the first time we're going to be able to allow our senior parents to come to an event. So we're very excited for that opportunity and for the parents to come watch their kids compete. So, I want to mention some seniors here:
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Crane, Madeline Killian, Alexander Lemon, and Ryan Smith. So congratulations to all of those seniors. Again, our boosters does a fantastic job. We bring in a photographer. They give the moms flowers, corsages, and then we take pictures. Have a professional photographer come in and do that. And also, our boosters always supplies senior dinners at Tony's restaurant. Greatest steak in the tri-state. So excited for all those kids. They're really excited to eat dinner there. High class. So Thanks to Tony's and our boosters, and to our academic team.
Yeah, and most importantly, there honor mom, because if mama's not happy, nobody's happy, and so we got to keep mom happy there. Clay, let me bring you in on that in particular. The fact that we're able to have a senior night for these academic quiz team members in a year where we weren't sure if we were going to have any kind of season, let alone having a senior night here. I have to imagine, even as you're getting familiar with everybody there at Loveland, that's a pretty cool deal that we're able to pull this off.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter what they compete in, whether it be the academic quiz team, basketball, or whatever, swimming, you always want your parents, especially the senior parents, to be able to see their kid compete for the last time. And so I know the students as well as the parents definitely are going to appreciate this opportunity this Wednesday night when we face off against Winton Woods.
And we'll certainly keep tracking on and see how they do going into next week's program. Let's move on to the wrestling mats here, Brian. Team got some time to get some extra training in right now. So a little bit of time to fine tune, I should say, this past week. Slated to be back in action. What's the upcoming schedule look like for your team on the wrestling mat?
Well, I'll tell you, Jason, if I can just backtrack for 1 second, the reason that we didn't have a big, heavy load this week is, yes, rest, right? Part of that is that recovery that we need. Kids are still getting in their matches. They're going to, I was talking to Chris Weiser, our wrestling coach. These kids are going to have 30 matches in these varsity guys by the end of the year. That's normal. So we're thrilled that that's happening. But we hosted a JV dual tournament here. It was in this past weekend. So you had teams, and this is JV. So you had West Claremont, Beaver Creek, Lakota East, Milford, and Lebanon and Loveland. I mean, some of the best in this area for the JV kids to see that type of competition. It was outstanding. So we ran it just like our varsity the week before. and it was great. All the teams were outstanding. It was fantastic. We got a lot of experience in, so we're thrilled for those kids and their development, as they're going through the program. On Saturday, we will face off in a duel against Kings, so with our varsity. So again, keeping it light for right now before we start to get in the postseason. Everybody's staying healthy and injury free. So that's what we're after.
Speaking of Kings, your boys basketball team was able to pick up a win over Kings, and since we last talked there, so a big win there, and even more so, Brian, dating back to our conversation last week when we talked about all the close losses your team has had over the last couple of weeks, the double overtime game, the 5-point losses, 4-point losses, what have you. They've all been very close and have not gone your way. Now they get one back in a very tight game. It was back and forth against Kings the entire way, and you wind up getting the win. Drew Gleason goes for 16 points in the game. He's a major factor there. How big was that for their confidence to finally see, after all the trials and tribulations of all the close losses, to get it turned around and get a close win in the league?
Yeah, and again, this team is very resilient. They understand what's in front of them. They understand the talent that they've been playing, how good the teams were in front of them, how close the games were, and they knew what they had to do to get over that hump. And they came together. And like you mentioned, Drew Gleason, 16 points, 4 rebounds, an assist. I think he went for two for 2 on the free throw line, and did some other things as well. But it's all starting to click. Jason, that's what we want, that second half of the season.
Yeah.
Now we're clicking. We just gotta stay healthy, and make our drive. And it's coming up again. We don't have any games this week, but starting that first week of February, we have 4 games, and then that second week of February we have 4 games again. So I mean, it's on, and I think if things go our way, we'll be just fine.
It's starting next Tuesday. You're slated for 8 games in an 11-day stretch. So that's going to be more than difficult there. Now that we're in a little bit of a break right here, does that help? Does the close win over Kings help your team even more now that they have that being the most fresh result in their minds, that they were able to gut through a tough game and get a win, and now they've got a couple of weeks to have that in their mind going into the home stretch?
I think it gives them a little bit of breathing room, right? I think it says, hey, look, we are a good team. We can win big games. Look how far we've come, and now let's continue just to keep the throttle down. And so what? We've got 8 games in a couple of weeks. Oh well, this is what we're born for. Every day, it's every day's game day. So they're excited.
Let's move over to the girls' side here, and we talked last week about the surprising loss to Walnut Hills. So you do have the one loss in league play now, and then you bounce back though after a non-conference tough loss to Roger Bacon. Good Roger Bacon team, by the way.
Very good.
Yeah, but nevertheless, you come back now this past Saturday, go on the road to Milford, and you've got to grind one out. This was not an easy one. But that's what happens sometimes in league play, especially on the road. You've got to gut it out. In fact, you trailing going into the fourth quarter, and you wind up getting the job done, 45-39. So you stay on top of the league. And one young lady I want to talk about that was named ECC Athlete of the Week, Sophia Kapsakevich, a big game for her coming off the bench. She winds up with scoring the go-ahead basket in the final stretch, a team-high 7 boards off the bench. And this was coming off of a kind of a tough week at practice where – and she didn't even play in the Roger Bacon game because it was just a tough week. And Coach Parker talked a little bit about that on social media. But to see her bounce back, come off, accept what happened against Roger Bacon, come off the bench against Milford, and be a major factor, I have to imagine that gave the entire team a really big boost.
Yeah, I mean, she made that bucket that put them in the lead with just several seconds, 25 seconds, I think, left is what it was, and that kind of brought them into the lead. Sophia is a defensive player, so to see her shoot, it doesn't happen very, very often. She is strong. She is athletic. She's also one of our girls soccer players as well. So she's a strong defensive player. If you ever see her throw a ball in on the sideline, it's pretty impressive. And so she does the same thing on the basketball court too. She's a force to be reckoned with. She's young and she's starting to learn, how to move, on the court and how to be even more physical than she already is. I don't think she realizes, the potential of her as a physical dominant defensive player with the ability to shoot and score. So I think that's starting to come along at the right time. And obviously the team, you're right, we rallied around that. And I think that's going to, take this into this postseason and make us coming off the bench even stronger.
A tough schedule coming up for sure. A lot of games in a short period of time. Touching you, Brian, about that in just a moment. Clay, let me bring you back in here with this girls basketball team. They're one of the best in the area. Coach Parker, we've talked here on the podcast about everything he's going through with his health challenges. How long did it take you to realize and learn how good this girls basketball program is?
Yeah, I've been able to watch a couple of their games, including that tough loss to Roger Bacon, which, like you said, Roger Bacon has a great team. I believe a couple girls going D1 actually. And ultimately, I believe that game will help us going forward, especially coming in the tournament. We're going to be seeing a lot of competitive teams like that. But yeah, all our bench, our starters, everyone, they contribute real well. They're exciting to watch, and I look forward to continuing to watch them. So, yeah.
A big week coming up here. Between now and the next time that we talk, you've got 4 league games scheduled. Little Miami, West Claremont. Turpin already has 10 conference wins because they've had a few more games than you at this point, and then Kings as well. A really defining week that you come through this week. If you're able to get all 4 of these games, you're sitting in the catbird seat ahead of that Lebanon showdown a week from now for that league title. So a big week coming up. We'll certainly be looking forward to talk about it on next week's show. Let's move on and let's talk about the cheer championships coming up this coming weekend. We saw a couple of clips of the team performing on social media over the weekend. We don't want to give too much away because we don't want to spoil what the routines they have set up for the cheer championships. But Brian, how are they feeling going into that championship, and how would they feel their chances are to dethrone Milford?
Oh, they're going to compete as hard as they can. They've been in here every week, just going after it, getting after it. And you saw the hard work this week of those clips that we had put out on Twitter.
Yeah.
These girls, I mean, their faces were red. I mean, they were working. It is so important to them. They have a lot of pride. They put a lot of work into it. The parents are all in. The parents are in there helping us get the mats in beforehand, helping us the mats out afterwards so that the game can continue, on pace. But yeah, I mean, Coach Chrisman have done an outstanding job. Girls are in, like I said, every twice a week, just getting it done. So we're excited. They're going to do the best they can. And yeah, if obviously we can dethrone someone and take that trophy and raise it high above our heads, obviously that's something we'd really like to do.
Clay, have you been able to give them any tips in your short time there?
I don't know if I can help much with cheerleading.
Well, we'll see what you can pick up there and maybe help them going forward there. But again, good luck to them in the ECC championship this coming weekend. Lastly, before we wrap up the show here, want to talk about a big event in terms of the entire scope of the athletic department here, and that's the Tiger Ball. Obviously, it's coming up here soon. Things are obviously going to be a little bit different this year than they would under a quote unquote normal scenario. Brian, take us through kind of the A's and B's of the Tiger Ball, what it's all about, and then how it's going to run this year.
Yeah. So this is our biggest fundraiser for our athletics, 7 through 12. Our Loveland Athletic Boosters are second to none. These guys are hard workers. They are determined to just create the best environment they can for our student athletes. And certainly, obviously, they're very intelligent, creative people. Stacy Lund kind of, leading the charge with this Tiger Ball. Again, like I said, it's our biggest fundraiser. What they decided to do is to break it up. You essentially have from February 5th to February 14th to have the Tiger Ball your way is what the theme is. And you can find that on lovelandathleticboosters.com. But it's a virtual event. Essentially, you're going to host a small little dinner, no more than 10 people, within what you can do given the standards. And there's going to be an auction online. People are going to bid over that 2-week period. And they're asking everyone to pick up local food and have the Tiger Ball in their house, whatever, maybe theme it up, whatever it is. So we've got people from all over, Loveland chiming in to do that. So we're really excited for this different alternative of having Tiger Ball your way and continue to raise the funds for our student athletes, and so that our kids don't miss out on anything, just like we did in years past. So very thankful for our boosters organization, who, again, in times like this, come up with these creative solutions. So thanks to them.
And it makes all this possible. It allows us to talk about these student athletes each and every week here on the podcast. Clay, great having you on here. Congratulations on the new position, and welcome to Tiger Nation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
Brian, great talking to you once again. Look forward to it a week from now.
Thanks, Jason. See Tiger Nation the next week.
Absolutely. That is Brian Knatzer and assistant AD Clay George joining us for This Week in Loveland Tigers Athletics here on lovelandtigers.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.